Hoka hey and good day, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita live stream of July the 2nd, 2021. What would you like to see in an Alita PC or console game where we talk about all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the desired sequels? I am your host, the Muskogee Creek in Linville, North Carolina. And our co-host is Angelus from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. How's it going, Angelus? Angelus may have his mic muted, I think. Either that or he's going to get his breakfast. Okay, well, he'll be back shortly. So yeah, like I say, we want to talk about, gaming here. I'm not that big in gaming. I mean, I have played some games. Obviously, I like Age of Empires. I like that. That's a role-playing game. It's pretty old though. It's probably 20 years old. And before that, I was a couple of games, Duke Nukem and Eradicator. I used to play first-person shooters. And Delta Force too. That's also a first-person shooter. I kind of like that, but I am definitely not a gamer. That's for sure. So actually what we want to discuss is some of the possibilities behind gaming. And here are just some of the categories we're going to talk about. Cyberpunk, I guess. And there's a game, I think it's Cyberpunk 2077. Forgive me for my ignorance here, but I think that's a role-playing game, I believe. And then Mass Effect is another game. I guess Final Fantasy is another game. Street Fighter or Tekken. And then, of course, first-person shooters. What do we want in Alita, in terms of these games? For me, I'll take any of them. I'll take, downloaded content for Alita. I'll take Martian Memory that's been translated into English. And I've really been trying to get Martian Memory for the PC, and I understand that is going to be a hard thing to do. So yeah, StarCraft. Ash Blackwind brought that up. Yeah, he's right down my alley on that one. Yeah, I like to play StarCraft. That's also a good game. So, but it's an older game for sure, and probably the games today are a lot more modern. The graphics are better, and that sort of thing. So. Angelus, are you with us? I guess not. Either that or your mic is still muted. So anyway, I'm looking at the chat here. What do you guys, what do you want to see in an Alita game? I assume most of you play games, PC games or console games. What is it you actually like? Say maybe an Alita game on PS4 like David Watson was like he's talking about.
All right, I'm back.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right,
yeah,
got my liquid gold.
Okay.
Got my bread with Vegemite and a slice of pineapple.
Vegemite and pineapple, really? Okay.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have some fruit with my breakfast as well.
Okay. Cool. So anyway, Angelos, I think you play more games than I do.
I did. Now, there are plenty of genres out there. some that are more fitting for a singular character and some that aren't. And there are a few that don't fit a singular character, or that you could put a singular character into it, like Alita. And for the most part, they're like real-time strategy games, like Civilization, Age of Empires, that sort of thing. They're what they call real-time strategy.
Oh yeah, I played that. Yeah.
Where you basically create units, upgrade their abilities, and it's just like mass army on army action sort of thing.
Yeah, as we go along here, I said I don't play many games, but as we go along, I start thinking of games I had played, like Spore. I played that, and I just think of more and more as you keep going.
But let's talk about some of the more, I wouldn't say basic, but I guess what I call button bashing games, like you've got listed there, Street Fighter or Tekken.
Okay.
And for the most part, you'd probably see her more as like a what they call a DLC, or downloadable content, sort of character, where you'd already have like a preset game like Street Fighter or Tekken, and then you just basically download what's the word for it? Like a frame. There's definitely a term for it. I forget what it is, but
it's not like an avatar, is it? Except for the whole body or something, is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
A skin, I believe it's called, or at least that's one of the terms for it. And you can download a skin, so similar to characters like Cammy or Chun-Li in Street Fighter, for example. You could have the basic body type there, and then basically redesign it to look like Alita. There are some characters in games like Tekken or Dead or Alive, for example, where they do wield swords. And then you can, I guess, integrate graphics like that, where some of their moves are basic sword swinging attacks. And then incorporate that, except in this case, it's glowing blue.
Okay, yeah.
And naturally, of course, you definitely have to have the war paint under the eyes, so that's a definite.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just basic for games like that. It's just basic design, like flashy sequences. You can have a bit of like you can have story and cutscenes in between each fight, I guess.
Yeah. Welcome aboard, Max Stack.
Booyah, mother trucker.
Booyah. Yeah, exactly.
Bet you didn't expect me to say that.
No, I did not. No, I did not. No, I didn't think Aussies could say booyah, but I'm wrong about that.
We can say all sorts of stuff, can't we, Angelus?
Yeah, it sounds like it. But you know what? Yeah, Angelus was talking about having a skin, I think is what he called it. See, I am not a gamer. I mean, I have played games, obviously, but kind of older games. But
a skin comes from the term reskinning. So
okay.
Before DLCs were a thing, people would get in there and adjust the texture files and reskin the characters. So it would be like a homebrew thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a game like that that they did a couple of different, I don't know, not different skins, I guess, but they were like that old game Duke Nukem that was back in the 90s. I remember it. Yeah, I remember seeing one game that they had redone, or they had, I don't know if you say they put new skins in it or not, but, one was like you're in Vietnam, during the Vietnam War. And the another game was like Starship Troopers. You're on an alien planet, and you know the bugs were trying to get you, So instead of Duke Nukem, how they had their preset monsters and all the the critters that are trying to kill you, or with that movie, type thing. So
yeah, rethemed.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, rethemed. That's right.
Now, another one that you've got listed on there, the first-person shooter. There's a particular game that sort of spawned its own engine, if you will, called Battlefield. And from that, they developed a Star Wars game called Battlefront. And what they did is that you had like 4 or 5 different units. One was a basic soldier. One was like a rocket launcher sort of support character. Another one was like a sniper. And as they sort of developed the games, they'd also introduce, I guess, hero characters where, like, after a while, if you racked up enough kills, like with basic units, whenever you die and respawn, you could, excuse me.
Choking on that pineapple, eh?
Yep.
I told you it was dangerous, but you wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
Melting your brain, man.
But you could then select those characters, and if they introduced like a same thing in the sense that you could reskin the basic units to look like soldiers, for example, like an soldier with a rocket launcher, an soldier with a futuristic assault rifle, and then if you racked up enough kills, you could select Alita or Gelda, and those would have their own sort of unique abilities as well. Like maybe Alita, if anyone got too close, she'd do like a whirlwind attack and just basically one hit kill anyone nearby her. Gelda, there's plenty of things you can do with that. You could have an ability where you just like dash 20 feet or whatever distance within the game, and anyone that stood in front of you would basically either get outright killed or just get heavily damaged. And then you could introduce vehicles into the game as well.
Yeah.
And you'd have different factions. So on the other side, you could have the Zalamites, and you could play as like one of the other, I guess, enemy hero units could be Zapan or just pick and choose your characters, really.
Yeah, there's an old first-person shooter game I used to play called Eradicator, and the way that one worked is that when you first get the game and you play it, you get 3 different characters, and if you get through all the levels and you beat the boss at the very end, there was like 5 different bosses, but the last boss was the toughest. And if you kill that boss and escape it was like a mining facility, but when you kill him, and you have to, after you kill him, you got to turn on a switch, because you have to blow up this facility, and you got to find a way to get off of it, and you can't get out of the facility until you set the switch. So I mean, it's kind of fun that way. But if you successfully completed it, you got another character, and it was a Marine, which was a better fighter than the other 3. So I could see something like that for Alita, because I really like first-person shooters. I think they're, and you can switch it, in that game, you could switch from first person to third person just by hitting the shift bar, I believe it is, or the shift button or key, rather not button, the shift key, and it would take you to third person, and that third person could be Alita. That could be a, now you wouldn't see her from the front, you just see her from the back, in this game, because that's the way you saw your character if you went to third person mode. So
now the input that I was going to make for this topic, I'm going to leave Cyberpunk and Mass Effect for last, because that's a veritable goldmine of different ways you could take an Alita approach for that. Now, existing games with Alita DLC added. I mean, how many times, whether it be Cyberpunk or Mass Effect, or let's go a little bit further back, Skyrim, Oblivion, how many games have we tried to design a character to look as close to Alita, and there's just not quite enough options to look.
Yeah.
Like for Cyberpunk, for example, there's like a few cybernetics that you could sort of get a somewhat look around the eyes, but it's not quite the way we'd want it, I guess. So, like whether they introduce options where you could add something like that, whether they just at least copy paste like a preset design, and you could just select that look and then just play with that look for the remainder of the game.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Same with a game like Skyrim, for example. That's the most recent one. With its sort of like Nordic approach, who's to say that you can't have like war paint or tattoos like along the face or under the eyes, similar to Alita. You can definitely style your hair, long, short, different colors, different heights. So you can have like, your 7 foot tall Amazonians. You can have your 5 foot tall as the leader, and then your shorter versions of Cranberry. But I got to fit her name in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She's not online, is she?
I don't see her in the chat. She could be, though. I did invite her too, so she might be playing Final Fantasy, though.
Well, you know what they say: if you say the name 3 times into a mirror, they'll appear. But
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Beetlejuice, right?
On the topic of Cranberry, I can just say that she's nearly finished my commission.
Oh, that means I'm next.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I'm right after you. So I'll have
and then depending on how.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Angela. So I was going to go off topic anyway. Go ahead.
Oh, so was I. Because finally landed a job. Like they're asking me to fill in the application for work now, so I have to give them my tax file number, the bank account they want me to deposit my pay into, etc.
Nice. You got a job, seriously?
Yeah, finally. Means for Alita merch.
Yeah, congratulations, man.
So yeah, but at the same time, maybe Cranberry wants a break as well. Probably a break from my little pot shots that I take every stream.
Well, knowing Cranberry and having beers with her and Rido, I think she can take it. But watch out, she might punch you if we ever all get together.
Yeah, but she'll only punch me in the knee, so he'll be all right.
Well, we all saw what happened in the bar fight. That's what I'm really afraid of.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to take a crotch shot. That's what's going to happen.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh yes, exactly what Jeff said. I might go that route instead.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
I was going to sort of segue into your off-topic segue.
Okay. Oh, okay. So yeah. Well, I'm going to have. I'm going to have 2 commissions coming. I got one from coming from Cran after she gets finished with Maxie's. Although, is she finished with yours, Maxie?
Oh, it's very nearly done.
Okay, cool. So anyway,
I'd say maybe. Oh, she's got to re-ink it. The whole re-inking process.
Yeah.
I think she's that's the last bit.
Yeah, she's quite detail oriented, which is a good thing, when you're doing these kind of this kind of art, But I got one coming from her, and I got one coming from Rotten too. She's doing one for me. So Yeah, I think if they ever did come up with an Alita game, I definitely would get back into gaming. I'd start playing as Alita. That'd be.
Well,
Now,
I reckon you can put a leader into pretty much anything, really.
Well, not the older games. You can't. That'd be pretty tough to do. You'd have.
No, I'm talking more like genres. Like it
Oh,
have
I
to be
see.
a new game engine and stuff like that. But
Yeah. Well, I think that old Duke Nukem engine, you could do that. I don't know how they did it. But that's how they kind of changed the themes on that game. So and you could probably put Alita in that game. But.
I mean, I was just doing a Google search, and there's a game called Skate Wars from 1990, which probably isn't referencing Alita because the whole motorball arc hadn't happened yet, but it's probably referencing the 1974 movie that Koshiro was using as a sort of a reference for that. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie.
I know. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, is that James Caan in it?
Yeah, James Caan, Rollerball.
Rollerball, thank you. Yeah, my brain just would not go there.
Yeah, if you hadn't said that, I would have come up with it right away. But you know how your brain works.
I remember the bloody star, but I can't remember the name of the movie. Oh,
yeah. Well, I think he used Rollerball. Koshiro did I think that was one of his, things that he used for Motorball. You gave him the inspiration for that. But although I would say that Motorball is a lot more violent than Rollerball. I mean, they're both pretty violent, but Motorball is much different, I think, in that area. So,
but this Skate Wars game was 1990. Was also released in 1989 for Amstrad CPC, GX 4000, Atari ST, Commodore 64, MS-DOS, and ZX Spectrum. So it was everywhere. It was called Skate Wars, and I think they were cyborgs.
Ah.
Sorry, not Skate Wars, Skateball.
Yeah.
Skateball.
Actually, Angelus thinks we're too young. We're getting too old to play the game, or too slow, or something. Whatever we are, So
yeah, probably. Yeah. My brain doesn't want to work because I was up gaming until like 2:30 this morning. So,
oh Jesus!
I'm too old. Too old.
Yeah.
So like your Lethal Weapon 4 too old.
Yeah. Go ahead.
There's a line.
I'm too old for this crap.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
But another aspect of gaming is not DLCs. What am I looking for? I think I've nearly just left my mind now.
Oh, really? So you're in the same boat?
Yeah, well, can't go anywhere else.
At a younger age.
Yeah, he's a lot younger than us.
Well, Creaky can get away with anything because he's like justified in age.
He's immortal.
Well, yeah, I'm immortal.
He's got like centuries of knowledge to
centuries. Yeah,
track of.
Yeah. I have friends that tell me that I've had the pleasure of eating dinosaur eggs. So anyway.
Back in my day, we had dinosaur eggs for breakfast.
That's
but they took a lot of putting away.
Yeah, you sound like a damn Southerner there, Maxie.
I can sound like whatever you want. No
That's
worries.
right. Yep, you sound like one of the forest people.
Cletus! Leave your sister alone, Cletus.
Yeah, that would be that'd be like the Beverly Hillbillies there or something, I guess. I don't know, something like that anyway. So
Isn't that an old show?
Oh yeah. Well, there was a movie. I don't want to get too far afield of Alita. There was a movie back in I think it was in the 80s or might have been the 90s. I can't remember, but that Jim Varney was in it. And I can't remember. Cloris Leachman was in it. I think it was in the 90s. It was a movie, on the Beverly Hillbillies. So,
I remember now. Mods. Quite often, if a game is too buggy
It was
and
93.
or something like that, fans would take it upon themselves. At least the more smarter ones that are more computer minded and that knew the code behind the game, they'd make their own mods to, quite literally put their own characters into the game. And I mean, it might be a little. I don't know how they get away with it now, but
well, they disassemble it's what they do, and they'll disassemble it into what's called assembly language, which is kind of a symbolic language. It's not like some of the more modern programming languages. It's closer to machine code. But once you get that disassembled language, then you can make mods to it. So.
And who's to say that we can't mod it? So mod Martian memory to be directly translated to English.
Oh, I wish they had a English version of Martian memory. I know they, Maxie, I think it was you saying they started that, and then I guess they figured it was just too much.
It was a fan project, yeah. And they started translating it, but I don't think they ever finished it. Yeah. Like most fan projects, people get busy and other people lose interest and gets too hard.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if they were doing that.
Sorry, I was going to say that even that topic that Angelus came up with about Age of Empires or something like that, you could possibly mod that or create an Alita game based on the Fall War, and have like Earth and Mars and Jupiter and Venus, and have them all with different different graphics and different unit types, and have battles like that. And the ultimate weapons could be like the virus bomb and the nanite bomb and things like that. You could
and you get nuclear weapons too, I guess. But that Age of Empires. I mean, I play the Age of Empires War Chiefs is what it's called, because, well, first of all, I like to play as the Indians because I like to kill the white man, But anyway, in the game only. So anyway, but those characters are really small, I guess you could make a character that looked kind of like Alita, but she'd be like small, I mean, it wouldn't be like a first person shooter game or like a fighting game like Street Fighter. I don't think you wouldn't see as much detail of her. I mean, you could probably tell it was her, but you wouldn't see it like you would, in a game like that, in a Street Fighter, say.
Well, if the game supported hero characters, you could have her as a hero character.
Yeah.
Well, two aspects on what Maxie saying. One, there's it's not even a mod, but I'm pretty sure like a game mechanic of Warcraft 3, where you'd have your normal units, but you'd also have hero units that when they die, like you can like spend a certain amount of gold and wood to resurrect them back to the temple of where your home base is, and then it'd take like 2 minutes to create that unit, and then it will be like there's a hero unit again. So you can have,
it could be like a medical facility too, where like if Alita got killed, you could resurrect her, kind of like Nova did, at the beginning of the Last Order, and give her a new body if you paid enough, or something like that. You could do that,
Or that could be coming through with various upgrades as well, which are also prevalent within real-time strategy. The only reason why I said that it probably wouldn't be as like you wouldn't, I guess, see it in that sort of genre is because since Alita is such a unique character, people want to quite literally become Alita or play as Alita or even play alongside Alita. And like you don't get as much of that sense of individualism, for lack of a better term, as you would with a game like Street Fighter or Tekken or Battlefield, or going to other games, Mass Effect, Cyberpunk. I mean, you'd still see the character there. It's like, yeah, I can have Alita as my little commander and send her up the front, but what's like in the grand scheme of things, what's one unit compared to like about 20 or 30 that are all focused firing on the same target? Eventually that unit's going to die.
Yeah. In a prior professional life, I did do software development, and it strikes me that if you were to attempt something like that for Alita, where you were going to develop a game app like that, where you would have Alita in it, you got some hurdles to get over in terms of getting Jim Cameron and Koshiro and others, Disney, to give you the rights, to use that character. It seems to me,
Oh yeah, I mean,
if they did give you the rights, they'd want a piece of the actions. What they'd want,
Like a perfect example with Street Fighter, there's a character called Fei Long. You'll only really need one guess you'll only ever need one guess on what real life character he is based off on, aka Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
But and they had like you could tell it was him, had mannerisms, had the sort of like body or physique, but they gave him his own lore. They basically slapped it together, and it's like there's like the Bruce Lee representative sort of thing.
Yeah.
And of course, once he got into the game, everyone wanted to play Fei Long because everyone loved Bruce Lee at the time.
Well, that's the problem. You're going to have, if you put a loved character like Alita into a game, everybody will want to play that. And you could almost create a game about the AR series fighting each other, and have Alitas fighting Alitas.
Yeah.
Well, it comes down to reskinning as well. You could, one of the reskins could be having different numbers. Like you could have AR 99. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't have to stick with 12, would you? You could go up to higher, I guess. You'd have to set the game up to where people would know, that, hey, you have the ability to create more ARs, so you wouldn't be bound by the manga, so.
But yeah, like you said, there'd definitely be a hurdle of rights and whatnot. And I think that's where this is what makes the movie itself so unique, because it's already making headway in the sense that it's like the missing link, as I keep on calling it. Everyone's, the manga's been around for decades, the anime's been around for decades, but the live action adaptation, and a good one at that, like, that only came around in 2019, and like everyone's going, holy shit, this is actually not your typical Hollywood adaptation. It's actually pretty decent, and so forth.
What would be cool? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that sequel, when we get it, is just going to be like, it's going to just floodgates. It's just like a big gaping hole, and there's like a dam of water that's coming at you.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Well, we're going to get one. We are going to get one. Yep. What would be another cool thing too is that, I know a lot of folks in the Alita Army would like to be, they would certainly want to be Alita in a game like that, but I bet you a significant percentage of them would want to fight alongside Alita, and maybe as figure 4 or something like that. But what would be cool is if you could put something like your own, like there's those website, I can't remember the name of the website now, but you can you upload your picture, and it creates kind of like a cartoon looking avatar of you, and if you could do something like that with an Alita game where it's and you fighting with Alita, you know, fighting beside Alita, you know. That, I bet a lot of people in the Alita Army would go for that one. As a matter of fact, probably a lot of people would go for it, and they wouldn't have to be in the Alita Army, you know.
Well, I was just thinking, wouldn't that be funny, going back to the real-time strategy aspect, where you'd have like selectable race, as they call it, called the Alita Army, and its commander character would be Alita.
Yeah, yeah. Or it could be like Gelda, you know. I mean, it could be, or maybe somebody, maybe a general in the Army or something. Who knows, you know? But
well, that's where they can just like again open the floodgates, because you can draw from the manga to the anime. Well, maybe not so much the anime, because it wasn't quite successful, but I mean, yeah, there's certainly no end of source material to draw from when it comes to characters to put into these games.
Yeah. You know,
I'd love to have a motorball game very much like sort of Formula One racing with combat, and sort of, you know, work through a season, and, you know, come up with a character. You could come up with your own character design and fight alongside a leader in that, you know, in Teams event or something.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
There's a game called Flat Out, and that's just basically like derby cars going along your like outlandishly designed tracks, and basically it's still a race per se, but you can either win the race by coming first or win the race by destroying everyone else. And sometimes
sounds familiar.
Yes.
And quite often, if someone's losing so badly, what they'll do is they'll go, screw this, they'll turn around and they'll go reverse the track and try to take out everyone, as they're sort of like, you know, playing chicken sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny, but I mean, who's to say
that's an illegal move in motorball. You can't go back.
You can't go backwards on the track. That's right.
You can go very, very slowly and wait for everybody to catch up, but you cannot go backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, who's to say you can't have something like, you know, rollerblade, like, and have actual characters getting ready to, you know, blow the smithereens out.
You remember in that tryout, you know, they were all trying to kill Alita. You remember Stinger, you know, he kind of jumped in from the side, you know, before she actually went through the Jumbotron, you know, to get to Hugo, you know, but is that not illegal too, Maxie? I mean,
look, the rules went out the window on that match, because it was a death match, like literally. Yeah. It wasn't. I mean, the character that Junker played, that character had a range weapon, and that's illegal, and they just ignored that. So I mean, the whole match was rigged. There was no sticking to the rules. It was a load of shit, really. It was horse shit. But she didn't care. She was in combat mode. She just kill them all.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, you're right. You can't have a projectile weapon, from what I remember.
No, it has to be attached to the body. Like you can't have like darts or arrows or plasma balls or anything like that. It's got to be connected to the body. That's why the grind cutters were so lethal, because they acted like a ranged weapon, but they weren't, because they were still attached.
Yeah. You know, David Watson's got a good idea. You could have a game based on the Zot, you know, and kind of make it, tailor it around the Street Fighter game, you know. You'd need to have teams. I'm not familiar with Street Fighter. I mean, I've heard of it, you know, and I've even seen, seen some video, you know, on YouTube of it, but it didn't strike me you could have teams in that game, but maybe you can. I don't know. I guess, Angelus, you'd know that better than.
Muted? No, I'm not muted. All right. In later versions and releases of Street Fighter, because it is a long-running game series.
Yeah.
Like it initially started out as like a single character versus a single character, and
Yeah.
then it expanded into like 2-on-2 and 3-on-3, and like you just press a button or a combination of buttons on the controller, and you'd switch characters. Like if one started getting low on health, you'd switch out. He'd sort of heal up a little bit while the other one was fighting, and then you'd switch out, and then another one would fight, etc. And that's where the teams aspect would be coming in.
Yeah.
It's much more prevalent in today's game, and not just Street Fighter. It's also prevalent in Tekken. It's also prevalent in fact, pretty much any of those games. Like there's a game where it's just called Marvel versus Capcom, and like I think you can choose up to 3 characters on your team, and another one's called Dragon Ball Fighters, where you can choose like from like the whole mirage of Dragon Ball characters, and you just switch in between each one, depending on how good you are with certain characters.
I'll bet you Den has played that game.
He's probably heard of it at least.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I sent Dan an invite. I hope I got to his right account, because the last 300's not on Twitter anymore. I mean, I can't find it.
He just messaged me on his 2.0 account.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I sent him the link.
Yeah, I sent him a link too on his 2.0 account, but he's I guess I don't know why did he change his we'll have to ask him when he gets here, I guess, but he looks like he changed accounts. He deleted his old account and started a new one, I guess.
Yeah. And coming to a head, Cyberpunk and Mass Effect. I mean, that's where like it just the options are just out there, each and every single one of them. You can you can design your own skins, you can download certain skins.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Depending on how much detail that they allow you to create the character with, you can quite literally design the character, because you can choose either male or female with that one. And even in Cyberpunk, which is probably the better game to design and lead a character with, you can have various cybernetics to where you could have quite literally have blades coming out of her arms. Like in that, they're called mantis blades, and they do sort of come out forwards as opposed to backwards like she does in the manga. But I mean, just minor design things.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares if you're like how much damage you're dealing, as long as like you got a character that looks like a leader that's just tearing up with blades coming out left, right, and center, and you're just cutting your opponents to ribbons, and that's all you're playing it for.
So you can load a skin that looks like Alita into Cyberpunk. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, you can design your character to. It's not very too close at all, actually, but like there are certain face cybernetics you can do to have like markings under the eyes, but doesn't quite come down to cheekbones. You can have either a rocket launcher coming out similar to Iron Man. You can just have like massive like gloves that look like Colossus, if you will, from the X-Men.
Yeah.
Or you can have blades that's where your arms open up. If you can think of RoboCop, you know how his leg opens up and his like gun's right there in a holster?
Yep.
Same premise, except it's in your forearm, and instead of a gun, it's just a blade that comes out and forward. Similar to Nisiano, if you will. Only hers is fixed. This one's like hitting the forearm, and then when the forearm opens up, it pops out, and then you can just start stabbing and slicing. And much like even, in fact, the picture that you've got on the screen right now, similar to that, except the blade sort of comes forward instead of backwards.
Okay.
But, I mean, that's about as close as you can get to an Alita character currently. But, I mean, like I said, there are modders out there that are very, very talented. And I wouldn't be surprised if, if one of them ended up being an Alita fan. I have no doubt that they'd just be able to like change some code or something, and then all of a sudden you've got Alita.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of folks that that were like us, big time into Alita, they'd probably want her face to look like Alita's face, wouldn't they? I mean, you might could get by with different kind of weaponry, but it seems to me you got to have that Alita face. Am I right?
Yeah, like the some form of markings under the eye is
and
like
big eyes, big irises, that kind of thing. Kind of like in the movie, or in the manga,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I'd start playing that game again. I'd start playing.
Well, that one time that I was I guess streaming that game I was playing a while back on Discord, that was Cyberpunk. It has been like several months ago.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You and someone else was there as well. And I was just driving along in the car and just sort of moving left and right to show you what the city looks like. But yeah.
Can you change the environment? I mean, what I mean by that is like there was an old game that I still play from that time to time. The graphics are not that great in it, but it's kind of still a fun game. It's first person shooter, but you could design your own levels, and you could put buildings in it, whatever you wanted, mountains, you name it. You could add that to your level, and then you put your character in there, and you could put bad guys in there and start fighting them. I mean, can you do that with Cyberpunk? Does it have a level editor of sorts? That might be old language.
No, I understand where you're coming from, but it doesn't quite have a level editor. It's just got different areas in the map that are vastly different in design and look. That, like, you could move the character to that area and then you'd be in a different environment. But there's not really much you can change of the environment itself. It's just a character.
Yeah. But see, what would be cool, though, if you could design now this would be pretty detailed and pretty complex, but you could design like, Iron City. You could design the Badlands, or something. Now, the Badlands, you could get away with, doing a little more generalized, what a Badlands or, forest and desert and stuff like that, what it would look like, But, Iron City, of course, you'd want it to be recognizable, in a lot of ways, So I wonder if it'd be neat if you had an editor like that where you could create, a geographical area like that, or a place, where you could, have your Alita character playing in that. So I guess what I'm saying is, why don't we have an Alita game? I guess that's what I'm really saying.
Well, you could do an open world game as well, like Grand Theft Auto, but it could be, like something like Hunter Warrior Iron City, and mod that into Grand Theft Auto into something you could play in that fashion as well.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool game. Yeah, I might turn back into a gamer if I was to get a game like that. So what else about what's the big difference between Cyberpunk and Mass Effect, Angelus? I'm not sure I know the.
With Mass Effect, it's gameplay. With Mass Effect, you've got multiple characters assisting you. And you can sort of control how they progress in the story, their abilities and what they learn. And I guess that's the main difference. Whereas in Cyberpunk, the only part you could design is your own character, but you have a lot more control over how you design your own character in Cyberpunk.
It's interesting. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, in Mass Effect, it's I guess it's a little bit more linear. On the flip side, though, at least in that sort of game, the decisions you make as well definitely affect how you interact with the environment and even your squad mates as well. So,
Mm-hmm. You know, Chaos there has an interesting thought. You know, he said he played a game, I guess that's, you know, it was written in BASIC, I guess. That's is really an old programming language, but, you know, it's, you know, there's a game. I got some basic code. Now, this is really old, but it was a game called Shooter. And it was a first person shooter, but it was pretty hokey. You know, it wasn't, it wasn't that the quality of the graphics wasn't that great. So what are we looking at here, Maxie?
So this is a game called Destruction All Stars, which occurs in an arena, and you start out on foot, but then you can jump into a vehicle, and there's all sorts of dangerous shit going on. You could imagine a leader in an environment like this. It's almost like the motorball track. You could mod this pretty easy into a motorball track with cyborgs and stuff, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's got all the basics that you need there. You can jump on vehicles and stuff. You could turn this into motorball pretty quickly, I think.
Looks like you could turn it into rollerball too, from the looks of it.
Yeah.
I think Alita she'd crush rollerball, wouldn't she? I don't think Jonathan E would last very long against Alita.
all right, there, yeah.
You guys know who Jonathan E was, that character, right? He was the star in the that movie, that 73 movie Rollerball, or was it 72? I can't remember which.
But you see, there's games out there already that fit the motorball sort of design in the gameplay. It wouldn't be that difficult, I don't think.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that difficult to do what, I forget what Creaky said it was, like about breaking it back down into like its language and then building it back up from there.
Yeah,
that's the one.
What they do is what they basically do is they take the machine code, because everything, unless it's got some form of interpreter on it, you know, if it's executable code, you know, it's going to be like, you know, it's going to be binary, you know, type thing, you know. But what they do is you get what's called a disassembler, and it reads that binary code and converts it into kind of a, you know, just regular programming code, like, you know, like any programmer would use, except it would be an assembly language. It wouldn't be in any of the more modern languages that they have now, you know. But, you know, people have actually done that in mod code, but I don't know how they do it now. I mean, I'm kind of far removed from programming at this point, you know, but, you know, I mean, that's one of the ways that a few years ago they used to do it anyway.
Yeah, so there's nothing someone to, like you said, disassemble that to its basic code, or like just create their own mod using that code and adding Alita's design into it.
Yeah. Well, you know, it'd be a part of the code that would reference like JPEGs or something like that. You know, I mean, if you had that kind of a thing, that kind of code, and then you wouldn't have to actually change the code. What you'd have to do is figure out what graphics or what JPEGs, if they're using JPEGs, they may use something totally different, like some really proprietary kind of graphics, you know, or something like this. But if they did use JPEGs, it'd just be a question of finding the JPEG and then modifying it. You know, you just going into, you know, something like Photoshop or something like that, or even Paint for that matter, you know, and changing it, you know, to make it look like Alita, you know, so you'd change a character that would be, you know, really designed for the game, and change that character's JPEGs, if that's what it was, to Alita, you know. So
I'm open to being corrected, but I think that's possibly even one way you could get around copyright as well, if it's fan made or fan designed, even if it's based off a popular character. Like, could it still get around copyright if you basically designed your own Alita?
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of iffy. I mean, if it was so super close, that I'm not sure about that. Because what's that character that Verizon's using now? Sam, isn't it? Something like that. That character really looks a lot like Alita, except it's got blue eyes. Something like this, I don't know. In that case, they probably worked out a deal, with somebody, say, is this okay? And they say, yeah, but you got to pay us this amount, or give them the rights, But in terms of,
you talking about Samsung's Sam character?
Yeah, the one that Verizon's using. That might not be her name. I can't remember, but I know it was on Facebook. Yeah, I saw it on Facebook several times. That character, and it's got the anime eyes and all that, but it's but they're blue. But it does very much. It looks very similar to Alita.
You could mod this game into Motorball pretty easy.
Oh yeah, because what's he carrying there? That's
got a ball.
Yeah,
he's got a ball, and he's on skates.
Yeah,
and it's vaguely futuristic. It's not quite a cyberpunk future, but I mean the track's pretty boring. It's just a loop, but you could mod it, I think.
Well, if you had like several, it looks like there was two characters there. If you could figure out what the graphics were, you could like that character right there. You could change that character into Alita.
I mean, this is a console game by the looks of things, but
yeah, it's just an oval. Yeah, it's not. There's no turn 6 in this thing.
I mean, again, who's to say you can't design your own tracks either?
Yeah.
This could just be the basic training track.
Yeah, that might require some kind of level editor or some kind of code change, though, I think.
Yeah.
But basically, what I'm saying is that the options are there.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely.
I just don't want to show too much of it because I don't want us to get us yeeted.
Yeah.
I figure I can show a minute or two and get away with it because it's we could be we're doing basically what we're supposed to be doing, which is commentating.
Yeah, that's right. So, and I'm looking at it on YouTube right now, and it's not yeeted, so I guess we're good. So
yeah, no, I just show enough that we can talk about it without getting yeeted.
Yeah, exactly. And I got a message from Dan. He says he's going to be late, but he is going to be on. So
what's his new Twitter handle?
Dan 2.0, but I think the actual handle is it's weird. It's at of course the @ sign the _AGOGE. I'll put it in the chat. That's a private chat. So
the Agog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
I was wondering where he went to.
Yeah.
He was dumping all this stuff in the Twitter feed and then suddenly disappeared. And I'm like, okay.
He's not going to do it what he did again last year, huh?
Who knows?
Yeah. No, he says he's going to be here. He's just going to be late. He's on his way home, he said. Well, that was 45 minutes ago, so he ought to be getting pretty close, I think. Yeah, I think for me, if I was going to play in a game like this, I think my first preference would be playing next to Alita, or playing as a character. She's Alita and I'm a different character playing on her side, or something like that. And then the next I would be playing is Alita, But the thing of it is I'm such a bad game player. I don't want the character to get killed because I'm such a bad player. It's that simple.
Well, they usually have a difficulty level, so you could turn it down if it's a single player game. If it's a multiplayer game, you just will suck.
Yeah, that's right. I just get hammered,
But could you imagine an AR series game where you had leaders with different numbers on their foreheads fighting against each other?
Oh, that would be
pretty cool. And of course, there'd have to be a Zex model, which that would be Cranberry's.
That would hook
character.
Cran. That'd hook Cran and Rotten.
and Rotten, a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'd like to be figure 4 too. I think I might play as figure 4. See how well I could do fighting against Alita. I might get stomped in the dirt just like he did, but
get your arm ripped off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And get beat with
and you could play figure 4.1 with the cybernetic arm.
That's right. That's right. Hello, Chaos.
Hello there.
How's it going, man?
Pretty well.
Nice.
It's funny because Martian Memory has like everything you guys have mentioned on that list. It's taken a while for me to finish.
Yeah. I've been watching some of your stuff on video on Martian Memory, and I see that, and of course you see an English word here and there, but I always wonder, how the heck does he know what to do, because it's Japanese.
I'm just really intuitive.
Must be. You must have that psychometry going for you. So, yeah, but I've watched you play that game several times, I said, how the hell does he know what to do here?
He would need to get a hold of a controller from somebody who played it, who's Japanese and knows how the game works, and then he could use his psychometry to then play the game.
Yeah, that's right. What's happening with you, Chaos? What kind of projects are you doing? I know you've been shooting some videos and uploading them. I know you've been doing that. You want to tell us a little bit about that? And I think you're muted.
He's very muted.
Yes. Oh, Ash Blackwind's got a great idea. Why doesn't the Alita Army pool all our resources and efforts and come up with an Alita game?
Somebody was doing sort of like a little tiny Alita game where it was Hot Toys Alita and 3 of the little, what would you call them?
What, the little Alitas?
The little Alitas, the pop vinyls. Was that Sluggy Tinky?
Might have been Sluggy Tinky. It could have been Vladi too.
But that never seemed to. We were promised it, but it never seemed to make an appearance.
Yeah, I got a lot on my plate, or else I'd do it.
So you've done some game writing, have you, Creaky?
Not game writing. I've done some programming. I used to be a programmer many years ago, back in the days when we programmed in COBOL and Fortran, and I've done some basic programming and even HTML, but that's as much as close as I've got to any modern, kind of modern type programming,
Man, if they have problems with like a spy satellite with nuclear weapons on it, they might have to send you to space to reprogram it.
Yeah, good luck with that one. Yeah. Well, it's funny. It is funny that the government, the federal government in the U.S. still has a lot of applications they've designed and all that's still written in COBOL, an old language. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but yeah, that's been many years ago. I guess I helped work on that and actually designed the Defense Civilian Pay System database. So it pays 300,000 people. So but anyway, that was a long time ago. So anyway, yeah. But I've done a lot of system engineering stuff like that, software engineering, but not anything recently, because I'm kind of gotten out of that industry, or that profession and kind of moved to something else, so. But I wonder if we could, that'd be a neat thing to try to undertake. The only problem is kind of like you were saying, Maxie, once you start something like that, if it's not a job, you're not getting reimbursed for it in any way, and you start running into glitches and all that, people start, it's too hard, and it's taking too much of my time and stuff like that, and especially if you're not getting paid for it, you probably, a lot of folks might, they might say, well, I can't do this anymore or something. Chaos, you got your mic. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, now I'm good. That's why I was thinking of the graphic novel thing. It's easy. It's easy to do.
What you mean to make like the graphics be like more closely aligned with the graphic novels and do a game like that?
Yeah. I mean, I got the idea from Max Payne because it has graphic novel parts in it where the panels fade in.
Ah, okay.
We can easily do it if someone set up a PowerPoint presentation, and of course, like I send the message out, I need to script it out.
Yeah. Well, I can do PowerPoint. I can do that. That's kind of one of the things I do.
We could do it on a stream is what I'm saying. I would just need to really write the script and really provide the panels.
Yeah. Yeah, let's consider that. That'd be kind of neat, I think. What'd really be neat too to get either Cran or Rotten to kind of draw some of the artwork, make Alita look like Alita. I know Cran doesn't like she doesn't think she can do realistic very well. I think she can,
But a lot of it's dream sequences, so it's not necessarily going to be the same way as the manga panels is.
Okay.
Because if you remember old detective movies, just say Mickey Rourke or something, you have these dream sequences part of the detective mystery, but they aren't. They tend to be the dream parts of the detective, where the detective or somebody is dreaming, aren't necessarily the same style as the rest of the film. You can have exaggerated sounds and proportions where everything's getting warped.
Yeah, that might be a pretty good idea. I guess personally, I'd like nice graphics, but I could definitely live with something that looks like the manga because I enjoy reading the manga. So probably a game would be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm just saying I can get with my new solid state. I was using a laptop that's from 2012 with the regular spinning hard drive. Now I've got a solid state one. After almost 10 years of the 2012 machine, I've got a new one that records in 4K.
Oh,
so
nice!
I get a pretty detailed shot and PowerPoint presentations with that.
Yeah, that's worth exploring, I think. Let's see. Is there any other kind of category of games? Because, like I said, I'm not a gamer, so I know we got like 7 different types up there. So I guess Cyberpunk is kind of like a role playing game, isn't it, Angelus? I think you're muted, Angelus.
I was. Yeah, but at the same time, I could definitely see it take more of an approach similar to Final Fantasy as well. because I mean, you can definitely have a definitive storyline to follow. You're still, I guess, leveling up or progressing a character, enhancing its abilities as you gain experience, going up against different enemies, bosses as you go along. Again, similar to Final Fantasy. Almost completely forgot that aspect as well. And again, similar to Final Fantasy, you can't really create your own character in that one, so you definitely have to either like have a specific Alita game or one where you can download the skin of reskin a character to look like Alita. But
yeah, I think that'd be the way to go. Because I think hacking the code would be very difficult. I think I think that I know there are people that can do this, but I think the easier route would be to figure out the skin or we lost chaos, the skin or even figuring out which, if it's a bitmap file or a JPEG or something like that. If you could figure out what that was, of course, then it's an easy matter then. So.
Yeah.
That, of course, that wouldn't I guess slake our appetite for a sequel, would it? I mean, yeah, we'd love playing the game, but we still would have to have a sequel, I think.
Yeah, but that's about the like I don't play too many games myself as well, or rather, I do play a lot of games, but like it's always the same ones over again because each one has what they call replayability. Like you play it over and over again.
Yeah.
And for me, that is Cyberpunk. That is Mass Effect. That is like your button bashes like Street Fighter, or your first-person shooters like Battlefield. And yeah.
There's that old game that I play. I'm gonna take a look at that and see if I can identify the graphics, behind those characters that are in there. There is one character in that old game, Eradicator, that is a female character, but she looks like a cat, sort of, which I guess would be like Cat Lita, I guess, but she doesn't look like Cat Lita, but she's sort of like a cat,
This is why I'm saying the success of the movie and the sequel is pretty much going to be paramount when we get our sequel, and hopefully it does even better than the first. Like I said, that's going to be opening the floodgates for all this merch, not just games, but like figurines and possibly even cheaper ones too. The Hot Toys Alita is quite expensive.
Yeah,
but
unless you win one.
That was only due to the generosity of Foxfire on that one. But
or I won one from Harkins too, so that, and that was like I won that like 1 week after I bought the Hot Toys Alita. The Cran helped me buy it, Yeah.
You don't have to remind me. So I'm the only one in the channel at the moment that hasn't won a Hot Toys Alita. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're telling you.
I'm so depressed I could go and eat pineapple pizza right now.
Oh my God! Oh, let's keep working on
it. Right here.
Yeah, well, I'll probably
work on him, man. Jealous.
And
speaking of people who haven't done things that they should do, Creaky, have you finished reading my fanfic yet?
No, I haven't had a chance. I've been.
God damn it!
Yeah, I know it.
I tell you what, you catch up. I'll write some more.
Okay. Well, I haven't had a chance. I've had to teach 2 classes here in the last couple of weeks, so I just haven't. I haven't been able to do it. So I just finished up one of them. That class yesterday. So it's been. It's kind of exhausting. You teach a class on Zoom, you're mentally drained after one of those things.
I can imagine that.
So, yeah.
I
Must
was
be
on
like
Eight-
hosting a live stream, eh?
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, except it's 8 hours or 9 hours. 4 days in a row. So it's it's not like 2 or 3 hours. Avon, I sent you a link, man. If you want to come on, well, I can just put the link back out there, I guess. So. There it is, Avon. If you want to come on, there it is. Just click on that link. It's in the chat. Anybody, not just Avon, Ash Blackwind, you can come on. Any of you.
Ash has got so much to say, he should get his ass on here and actually say it, not just type it.
Yeah. So anyway, we don't have that many people on now. Watching.
Also, there's one thing that sort of like it's not an Alita centric or a character centric Alita game, but thinking of the one game that Maxi plays a lot, what about having a game similar to World of Warships but in space and with ships?
Oh
and
yeah,
Jupiter ship.
They did a sci-fi version, but it's on water still. It's not in space per se. Like they have special ships that are like sci-fi-esque, but they're still on water. So you'd probably need to do something like a mod for Homeworld or something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Star Trek has something similar. Like there's a Star Trek game out there that's like World of Warships but in space, and obviously using Federation ships and whatnot.
Yeah, there is. I should know what it's called because I have friends who play it.
Maxi, that World of Warships, can you actually play like kind of, I guess, replay or whatever you want to call it, historical battles like Latique Gulf and the Jutland and stuff like that? Can you
it's been attempted, but only in a training room. There's no real capability as yet to play like themed games with specific nations per se, but it has been attempted. There's a couple of videos out there where people were like playing defend the Yamato with destroyers, and there was a whole bunch of carriers attacking it to try and do the last battle of the Yamato. But it's a little bit tricky to do that sort of stuff because in a game you want to have options and choices, and doing stuff like that really limits it because most of these battles were one-sided, especially in the later war where like Japan was being beaten down and the Allies were winning. And it was like fighting against carriers in World of Warships is a pain in the ass to start with, but when it's all carriers on one side and just ships getting the shit beat out of them on the other side, it's not much fun as a game. I mean, if you were just trying to do a recreation, then you could do that, but it's very one-sided. It would turn out even worse for the Japanese than it did in World War II because carriers just rape.
Seems to me it'd be fun though if you were like if you could replay that whole scenario with the Bismarck, where one person could be on commanding the Bismarck, and then some of the folks that the British that were after the Bismarck would be in some of their ships trying to find it and maybe sink it or something. It seemed like to me that'd be fun.
Yeah, well, the way World of Warships works, you don't really have that sort of gameplay. It's like a 20-minute battle, and you have 12v12. So, I mean, you could force nations on either side, but actually just set up that sort of a thing would be quite complicated. That's why they had to do it in the training room to try and create sort of thing. They had a couple of goes at that, and that was about it for videos.
Yeah.
It's not set up that way per se in the game.
Okay. So anyway, well, let's see. I'm kind of run out of thoughts here on gaming because I'm like I say, I'm not much of a gamer. I mean, I was kind of wondering what we were going to talk about tonight. And Angelus came up with this great idea, which it is. But unfortunately, I'm just not a gamer. So I say that. Now, of course, I do play games sometimes, but it's old games usually.
Yeah, but I mean, if I had to choose like a specific genre or game to base it off or to create one similar to, I'd probably lean more towards Cyberpunk than anything else.
Yeah.
Mainly because there's so much you can do story-wise, game-wise. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like my button bashing Street Fighter games. I love my like bash my mouse button to fire a gun in a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
But I mean, between Cyberpunk and maybe Mass Effect,
yeah,
there's like that's my top sort of game genre or engine, if you will, that I'd prefer the most.
Yeah, I kind of like first-person shooters. Now, granted, older games, but still, first-person shooters seem to be what I prefer, a lot. So, I think I'm going to take it on myself to go look at that one old game I got to see if I can figure out what the graphics are, because they probably don't. Well, I could be wrong about this, but they may not. Let me say this: they may not have the actual graphics in the game itself. You know what I mean? It's probably files that they pull into the game, they read, and then they kind of put them together, and just kind of do that, probably that. But I could be wrong. But I'm gonna check that out and see if I can see that, if I can figure that out. That I'll definitely put some videos on YouTube, with Alita fighting the aliens, that are in that game. So anyway.
Well, Den's had an hour and he still hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah.
We're going to have to give him crap about that.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we most definitely will. Well, we can kind of move on a little bit. I mean, we don't have to get off the stream, obviously. I don't want to do that, but I think I guess that we've kind of gone back and forth on this one. Is there any other kind of game we haven't talked about that would be well suited for Alita?
I was wondering if you could skin something like Among Us, which is very popular at the moment. You could skin that with like chibi Alitas, and one of them's would like you could do the AR series, and one of them's the one of them's working for the other side or something, and you're on a ship trying to get it working again. You could do something like that, and then you can play private games. You could get the Alita Army playing that together, and one of them is the imposter.
Now there's what's the word I'm looking for? Platform that we haven't thought of yet. Mobile games.
Well, there is a mobile game that was released around the time of the DVD release or Blu-ray release that was running. You were running around in Iron City, and Alita was in there, but she didn't do anything. She just sort of sat there, which was a shame.
Well, why wouldn't they have her doing something though?
I think because the programmers were crap. It was some sort of adventure game in Iron City. I never got into it because I was told it was crap, and
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I think that it had a lot of possibilities, but they didn't take it where it needed to be.
Oh yeah. Wow! Alita Battle Angel, the game for Android.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, is that the one?
I just googled it.
Is that one crap?
Apparently,
it's only got 2 stars.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. I mean, people were complaining that Alita was there standing on the street, but she didn't do anything. Basically, like, it was a cheap ass adventure game. Could have gone a lot further than it did.
Well, I may download it just to look at it, you know. So all she doesn't do anything. She just stands there, or what? What is she?
Well, that's what I remember them saying, but you know, the interaction was minimal, if anything. Maybe she had a couple of lines, like she gave them a mission or something, but otherwise she didn't do anything.
Oh, that stinks. Yeah. Well, Ash Blackwind says that he doesn't want to. Oh, there's Avon. Cool. Bruce Scott, Avon.
So I think I'm audible. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Hey. Well, that's what happens when 30 minutes nap turn into 4 hours. God damn it.
Yeah.
Your brain said nope.
That's happened to me.
What is this sleep thing that you speak of?
I mean, to my defense, it's like what, after midnight, 2 a.m. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, one of these days, David, we're going to have to kind of do at least a couple of streams earlier so the folks in Europe can get on without it going past midnight, you know.
Well, we can start 2 hours earlier and have it literally start Radio Chaos time if you want. That's your call. I don't know what time you're available.
Yeah, it depends on the day, and if I am doing teaching, that's not going to work. But on Friday though, I don't usually teach on Friday, so yeah, I probably could do that. At least switch it up a little bit. Of course, Maxie will tell you that I can screw up times.
Oh yeah, we all can. Time zones suck.
I can definitely do that. But anyway,
the amount of hammering I did with the time zones, like I said, it's 9 p.m. GMT. I don't even care if British Standard Time or British Summer Time is on. It's still 9 p.m. GMT.
Yeah,
or UTC, if you want to call it that.
Invariably, you get the text that says, "Well, when is that CET?" or when is that JST? So we go figure it out.
What I can't understand is why all the people who are in Eastern US can't understand that there's another time besides the one that they have.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people. I'm telling you, because I do know there are other times. Well,
that's because you commute between two different time zones.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, plus I've been to England 3 times, so I'm a little bit familiar with it. So, of course, I guess they don't like it. Some folks don't like me calling it England, I guess, saying England. They like Britain, or Scotland or whatever. Yeah, UK. Yeah, that's the one they prefer, I think.
Oh, except for the people in Southern Ireland, they don't.
Yeah, they don't. No, they don't want that. No. So anyway,
they're still part of the EU. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. They don't care. Well, Avon, what you been doing, man?
Well,
sleeping.
Other than sleeping, yeah.
Yeah. I was actually going to play a bit beforehand, but then I decided, I might be taking like 30 minutes stuff and then play a bit, and then the thing happened, and I mean, not much in the afternoon, so I've been busy with house stuff, so I didn't do much. I mean, not much time wasting stuff.
Okay, do you play games at all, or do you consider yourself a gamer, or what?
I would, kind of, I guess. Like, I'm kind of a gamer, I guess, but I'm not actively playing most of the time when I'm back home. Like right now, I'm playing mostly games on a whim. Like say whenever I feel like it. Like right now, for example, I play near the one game on for PC and consoles, Near Automata. So that's like something I played in between. But I'm not a gamer that goes like, okay, I'm back home, so straight to games. So.
Holy crap! The place is getting full. It's a
Yeah,
deal. Chaos is back.
Hello. How's it going?
Chaos and Dan.
About time.
Oh yeah.
We got more people in the stream than we got in the text chat.
Dan, you sneaky son of a bitch! What did you go and change your Twitter handle for?
Yeah.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, Dan 2.0.
I deleted my old one.
Why?
We'll see if I'm gonna bring it back. We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, that's
right.
It's cool. Yeah, I didn't know where to
What you
send
guys
your.
doing?
Oh, good. I didn't know where to send the link to. You know, I was looking for the last 300 and I couldn't find it. And I said, "Oh God, I wonder if Den's, if he's, kind of, going to take another hiatus or what he's going to do." So.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Could be anything. But yeah, so the topic was video games this week, right? We covered everything.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, let me go back to a slide here so you can kind of see what
Suggested,
we Yeah, so anyway, we're looking at different categories, anything from a role-playing game to a first-person shooter to a kind of like a fighting game, like I guess Angelus, was kind of suggested that one because he does that. And Martian Memory. I mean, that's one I really wish they'd have finished translating into English because then I'd start playing it, because, I'm not like Chaos. I don't have all that psychometry going for me, so I can know the Japanese.
in one of my videos, I broke this down into two categories: the one we're likely to get and the one that I want as a fan. The one we're likely to get is something by Activision or EA that basically monetizes every inch of the game, and it's going to be multiplayer only, most likely with like a shitty campaign, and it's going to be mostly just motorball. But on the hopeful side of that, maybe it'll be something like maybe a kind of arena fighter like Tenkaichi 3 or Super Smash Bros. With a little bit of racing, something like that to mix it up. And who knows? That's more like of what we would get. And then hopefully what I would want to see is something like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which is a lot like Martian Memory. Martian Memory followed the manga. It's basically a retelling of the manga, and it was the official canon for a while. What Dragon Ball Z Kakarot did was it didn't follow the anime. It reinterpreted the manga and then added a little bit of context to the manga, but removed things from the anime and changed things to be more like the manga. And it was basically an RPG game that switched into fighting. So it's like half fighting, half RPG. So you can just live out Goku's life, do little things like go fishing, cook meals and things like that, build a car and race it and shit like that. You can build a robot walker and race that. But then also there was the fighting element of it. And you can power up and change your different attacks and become Super Saiyan. And, what if we got like a Martian Memory remake like that to where you can switch the different bodies. You can earn different bodies. Go from the motorball body to the civilian body and things like that. And most of it, like Martian Memory, would be because Martian Memory also did that as well. It was an action RPG, so you walk around, live out Galley's life. But then there were also like one-on-one fighting elements to it as well. Like I don't know if you saw. There's like Alita versus Den. or Figure 4 had a fight in it as well. What's better is
you play as him and you can't win.
Yeah. And I like that. That's also in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot too. You play as other characters and the story goes kind of more or less along the same lines. You know what I mean? So, and you see, another thing I was saying about that was the fact that they don't need to spend a shit ton of resources on, motion capture and making it look as realistic as possible because it's a fucking anime game. The Wind Waker pulled off anime graphics on the GameCube in the fucking early 2000s.
Right.
Dragon Ball Kakarot was able to do some amazing things with graphics and gameplay just because it's a fucking anime game. They just fucking shit out some cell-shaded graphics and there you go. It looks great.
But some games did involve motion capture. Have you ever played Bushido Blade Den?
No, I haven't.
That game involved actual sword slashing motion capture just so they would have the characters in the game slash, but it's a really old motion capture game. This is like 1996.
But we're not dealing with that. We're dealing with anime. You know what I mean? And that's the thing.
Anime.
Like,
It is an anime game, but they just wanted people to have the actual, real motions that people would do in sword fight. Plus, it's a game where one hit kills you.
No, I understand that, but I'm just I just want to see them put the resources to a place where we can use it. I can't use graphics. I'm sorry. That's
I
just
don't
my
either.
opinion.
I hate QuickTime events. I
don't need that. You know what I mean? I don't need the graphics to be super duper next gen PS5. I just need a good Martian memory game that tells a story and is fun to play. You know what I mean? So that's what I want. So.
What is this fun to play thing of which you speak?
Something that EA is not very good at.
I don't know.
But you pay to play. It's not fun to play. It's pay to play.
It's pay to play. It's an addiction.
Just hope that
it's a compulsion, not fun.
Just hope that when a game gets ever made, EA doesn't get their greedy hands on this thing.
They're Disney.
I hope they won't.
They will, and they'll put in-app purchases in it too.
Like many of the good games are not made by EA, so
yeah.
A lot of the good games nowadays are indie games.
Hey,
Beam.
Stop. Sorry, my dogs are like trying to murder each other right now. I gotta.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead and say what you were saying.
A lot of the good games, all the games I enjoy a lot is like something that's indie on Steam. Like those are cheap, and they're not like great, super detailed graphics, but they work.
Yeah. No, I understand. Like, a lot of the games I enjoy right now are old fucking games. I'm playing Resident Evil and Halo. There's been no major changes in what I play since like 2005. So you know what I mean? Like, I don't need, and I play Halo in the old graphics. Like, maybe it's because I'm fucking old. But look at Fortnite, one of the most popular games in the world. You know what I mean? It's not exactly the height of graphics. It's all cartoony and shit. It's stylized. Team Fortress, another game that's been going on forever. A stylized looking video game. You know what I mean? Overwatch.
Detailed at all, but it's just cool how you can build whatever you want.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, those are games that I don't even play. You know what I mean? But I understand how popular they are, and you know what I mean? It's just that you don't need to put all these resources into stupid shit. You know what I mean? I don't need to see the pores in the actress's face. I just want a fun anime game. You know what I mean? And I get it. There's a lot of those. Like you were, Avon was talking about Nier.
Yeah, I mentioned Nier Automata earlier. Like, okay, I mean, there's like the graphics are good too, but like that's not the main focus. The same way I was just thinking of now, a game that made its whole like selling point through the story and all that were the Telltale games from Don't Not Entertainment. What were they again?
Yeah.
Or even the
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange. Those games are. The story-wise, those games are insanely good, but the graphics are like shite. But compared to today's, but they're so good in their story, they're like wow. So
compared to today, like Legacy of Kain is pretty good, even though it's old. But it's a plot that gets you interested in playing on.
But here's the
I
thing
think I'm going to be in the minority
game.
in this. I'm usually a minority anyway and everything. So, but in this opinion right here. I don't really get Uncanny Valley vibes that often, except when I'm playing like certain games and like you'll see a character smile in like a weird way and you can see all their fucking teeth and shit. You know, like they try to make the characters too damn realistic, and it's like y'all motherfuckers spent a lot of fucking time and man hours on this shit, and the game sucks. You know what I mean? Like I can see every pore in the actress's face, and the game still fucking sucks. You know what I mean? Just give me a fun, stylized game. The thing is, I don't mind realistic graphics either. You know what I mean? There's just like a certain point to where it's like, know what I think? Maybe it's because they know their game fucking sucks. That's why they just dump a whole bunch of money in the graphics. They're like, you know what? We thought this was a good idea. This game sucks. Let's dump a fucking bunch of money in the graphics and make them think it's good.
I don't want to spend $50 on an incomplete movie.
That's more or less what you're getting a lot of times.
Exactly.
These days, you know what I mean?
Unless you would be developing the game by Hideo Kojima, then you would totally get like a playable movie.
Okay, I'm gonna defend one thing. That's PT. That was basically a playable movie, but that shit was genius. And that's a little bit of a tangent. But did you ever play that, Avon or Chaos?
Doesn't ring a bell, to be honest.
PT was the trailer for Silent Hills. It was the Silent Hills game that was supposed to come out but never did.
Oh my.
No.
Silent Hill. That's actually good for being jump scares.
Dude, play PT. You guys have not played PT. Max, have you?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god. Okay, all right. So next stream, this is the stream topic. Okay, it's gonna be Max playing PT. It's gonna be morning time for us because it has to be nighttime for him, and it's just gonna be him and us watching him play the game. I think that'll be great. Just in his fucking Australian accent, yelling and cursing at us for making him do that.
Fucking crocky.
Oh,
He
you
says
can't.
crikey a lot.
Yeah, I expect cunt to be thrown around a lot.
Crikey.
Yes.
Crikey.
But go ahead.
So I've got a question, Dan. Did the instructions work for you in getting Martian memory to actually run?
I haven't tried it yet. I have not done anything like that. I got to sit down and just actually do it.
Yeah, it's
The instructions seem fine, though.
ESXE is easy. You just need to get the BIOS files.
Yeah, see, I hate doing shit like that. I'm not gonna lie, man. It's like,
But like,
whenever I got to do something like that, I always give it to my brother-in-law because he's the one who does all. It's not that I can't. You know what I mean? It's just that
You just don't want to.
nah. I'm always afraid I'm gonna fuck something up and like just not have a computer anymore. You know what I mean?
I used to be really scared of it until YouTube came along because YouTube made it so easy for me to figure out how to do just about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do it, or maybe I'll just have my brother-in-law do it next time I see him. Because he's done that a
Just
lot.
remember to
Like,
forward the instructions I had.
yeah, he did Halo for me. He put GoldenEye on my computer. He put a bunch of shit on there.
Yeah. So Chaos, Martian memory doesn't run on the PC though, does it?
Oh, it can run on the PC if you have EPSXE.
Okay.
You have to emulate the PS1.
Okay.
Think of it as like an app or
if you're
something
running
like that for
Windows,
PC.
if you're running Windows, you need EPSXE, and you need the BIOS. Ripper's Anime has the BIOS that you need for Martian memory specifically. But I say, because basically there's a system file that emulates the actual processor of a PlayStation. And there's a different BIOS for each language or each screen format. There's four for North America. But you want to get other ones if you need the European version, French version, Japanese version, etc. So there's a BIOS that you need for Martian memory that's not in the North Americans, obviously, because it was only released in Japanese. But I'm jealous of the people who. Well, I actually have a Mac now, but I'm jealous of people who run Mac OS because they have OpenEMU, which literally emulates everything except for Xbox. It emulates every system except for Xbox, even arcade.
You have an Australian on the stream, and you probably just triggered him by saying that.
Oh,
they had a war over that. God damn it!
Over what?
Emu. You said emu, right?
But no, yeah, you can. If you have EPSXE, you can insert the game CD into your thing. That's what I do.
Oh, okay. Damn. But the game CD is like $170, so.
Now it is. That's not. But
it goes up and down.
I was crazy enough to get it on Amazon.
Yeah, that's like 170 right now.
It was only 70.
No, it actually went back up. So before I did the same video I was just talking about when I talked about a potential game, before I did that, it was like 140. And then I went to go screenshot it for that video, and it went down to $70. So in my video, it's $70. But then I went and checked again last month, and it was 170 last month. So it goes up and down.
Depends who wants to give up their disc, I guess.
Yeah. And and you're not even like certain to like get a really good condition disc either. You know, it's pretty hit and miss.
Yeah. Oh, I actually cleaned the disc just to make sure it wasn't scratched.
Yeah.
Like I put the cleaning spray on it.
So for PS2, there's a game called Dragon Ball Tenkaichi 3, and it's the same thing. Right now, it's like $200 on Amazon, and I was able to get it at $60 from an actual in-store place. but it doesn't come with the cover. I realized when I got home that someone printed the cover out from like an actual like computer printer, and I was real disappointed about that shit. So now I'm like kind of iffy about getting Martian Memory in the same way, you know. It might just be like some fucking CDRW.
No, you can't go to Ripper's Anime or something and they can do it. I'm only saying this because you can't just buy the disc. I was being a little crazy. Ripper's Anime has an actual good ice image, so ask your brother-in-law about getting the image and show him the Ripper's Anime.
Yeah, he could definitely do it.
By the way, with the rise in popularity of games like open world games in the last couple of years, what would be more up everyone's alley? Like an open world game, kind of like Breath of the Wild, where you can tackle the story in any order possible, or like more something akin to, bad example, say Call of Duty game, like an arcade kind of game, where it's like more linear story where you follow like a determined path to go along.
I would prefer Legend of Zelda.
It just depends.
Well, I like Legend of Zelda because there is an order, but there's also everything in between. Like whenever you beat a certain dungeon, there's places all over the world that you can do now that you've got like the hook shot, or now that you have the boomerang.
Or we can go like.
It depends. It depends on the execution and what they're going for. If they're going for story, then you really can't do Breath of the Wild as much as you would want to, because you're gonna have to rein in some of that openness down. Because I haven't played Breath of the Wild. That's my wife's favorite game, but I play all the old Zelda games, and the ones that are more story focused, there is somewhat of an order that you have to go in. I mean, even Ocarina of Time, you can kind of break the order, but there's still pretty much a set order to go in. Like I said, me personally, my number one,
you need item A to get to point B, and so on.
Yeah. For me personally, I would just like it to be more like
previous dungeon to progress in a further dungeon.
For me personally, my like I said, I like arcade games like Call of Duty. I like mostly milsim games like more like Operation Flashpoint and stuff. But it depends on what they're going for. But honestly, DBZ Kakarot, an action RPG, would be that follows the story or at least expands on it, would be more my favorite thing. I mean, honestly, I've been saying this for a long time. I want to see more of what happened during the 10 years in the Badlands,
And then comes along a speedrunner that beats the game in like 10 minutes.
I wouldn't mind that. As long as he does it in a funny way.
He just clips right through like Berserker's append, and then he goes boom, straight up Zalem, straight up the space elevator.
No, we got to put the Zot tournament in there too. Like this game's gonna go on forever. It'll be at least a 42-hour game.
The Zot tournament could be like a deal. I mean, with DLCs pretty much being in everything these days, that could be like a DLC, like the main game being about the whole Iron City arc and everything up until like the end of the original manga, and then or maybe like a separate game where it goes along the Last Order books.
That's a curse word to me. All right, I'm not really. I'm really not meaning to sound condescending here, but you're in your 20s, right?
32.
Oh, damn, you're older than me. I was about to say, in my day, we just got the whole fucking game on a disc. And the games, a lot of times, were long as shit.
I know. Back in the day, you used to have games where you could like play through like 100 hours and unlock everything in just one game. What was
that
like
was
60 bucks. And then nowadays, like all these extra content which you could play through back in the day, that's like totally DLC stuff these days. So to make extra bucks. So
hey, you want to talk about old? You want to talk about old? Back in the day, for me, we used to have games that were on 3.5-inch floppies. So
I actually saw some of those.
They had DLC back then too.
I remember that. Like my father, I remember the first game. I think Myst was the first CD-ROM game. I think it was. Because I remember my father bringing it home, and I was just like, wow, this is more detailed than this.
Yeah, this is what I'm getting. I guess this is what I'm getting at right here. I'm hoping that gaming is returning to something a little more, I can't even say sustainable, because honestly, they're pricing them, from what it seems like to me, video game companies are pricing their own selves out of the market right now because they can't raise the price on video games because no one's going to fucking pay for it. They just have to sell DLC for the rising cost of making games. But maybe we can rein in some of this extra shit that they do with the games. Because like, look at Resident Evil 3, right? This is a perfect example of what I mean. What's going on wrong with gaming right now? You had a game that was a certain length back in what was it, 1999 or whatever the fuck the game came out, 2000. And when they remade the game, they had to cut shit out of it in order to be able to release the game on time. Because I guess you wanted to see Jill Valentine's fucking pores, right? You needed to see that shit. And it's not just like a couple stages that they cut out. They cut out a lot of shit and just condensed a whole bunch of shit. You know what I mean? It's really hard to explain the difference between the two games, but a lot of Resident Evil fans did not like that remake whatsoever. Because it was basically like, I don't know, an abridged version of the fucking game. It's not a lot of DLC. It seems like everything is on the disc at one time. That's a step forward. But what I'm saying is, I don't know, man. I'm just hoping that one day we can just stop focusing on the extra shit and just give me a good anime game that's 70 hours, no multiplayer, no DLC, just all the fun is right here in my home.
Like I said, like one time earlier, then you would actually have to hope that things are not like developed by EA because remember back in the day like we said earlier, you had like all these games where you had all this extra content, which nowadays is used to be DLC, and it has over the years been kind of a slow process to make to normalize the whole thing. Like back in the day when DLCs first came in, people were like up in arms, like what? We're not going to pay for that extra content, and nowadays it's like total standard. So it's like a slow creeping process to get people used to the thing, and in a couple of years it's going to be totally normal to maybe don't even own games anymore and maybe just rent them.
No, that's pretty much what's happening now. Honestly, I mean, I don't know much about it, but supposedly a lot of downloading games, you're just paying for the license or something like that. I don't fucking know how it fucking works, but apparently you just don't have the game.
Steam library,
yeah, something like that. I don't play a lot of new games. Like I said, I really don't. A lot of this shit really bothers me. Like I don't know. Like I told you, I played Halo. Well, I haven't played Halo in a long time because every fucking time I put that disc in, there's like a 7-hour update. And it's like, wait, I just wanted to sit down and play for like 30 minutes. And now I got to wait for literally 7 hours to play the game. But like I said, it's mostly because they're pricing themselves out of the industry. I see Ash Blackwind's thing. It's partially greed, but it's also because the profit margin is getting thinner and thinner and thinner because it's becoming more expensive to make these games. Like I said, graphics are like hyper realistic these days, and physics engines and all kinds of extra crap that, I mean, wasn't in games before, but games were, in my opinion, were more fun before than they are now.
That's why I like Nintendo.
Yeah, they do focus on fun. They really do. You know,
you see all these folks with. I'm generalizing, of course, and it's like not everyone, of course, but you see all these like Xbox people and PlayStation people are like fighting over which console's better. Meanwhile, you see Nintendo in the corner chewing on their bread, and they're like, what you guys doing?
Just fucking Super Mario and Zelda, you know what I mean? Like, they're getting a new Metroid game, you know what I mean? Like, my wife has a Switch. I'm not going to lie, for a while I found myself playing the Switch because they had Resident Evil 6, and I was like, okay, let me try this game. I skipped that game, and you know what? For all the shit talk people gave about that game, it was actually fun. And that's something I'm missing in games these days, you know what I mean? I'm missing the fun, and it was fun. Graphics aren't hyper-realistic or anything. It's just a fun anime game. And I found myself playing the Switch. I was playing Super Smash Brothers, and what else did I play on there? I don't know. I played some other shit on there, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just like there's fun games in there. Breath of the Wild isn't, the graphics aren't super amazing. There's not like a stupid retarded physics engine in there that, you know, Einstein had to come in and program himself. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing ridiculous in there. It's just a fun game.
On topic of Breath of the Wild, just now, like that game came out in March 2017, and even like a couple of years after, like 3 years after, people were still finding out like sort of new things about the quirks of the physics engine and stuff like that. Yeah. Like shield hopping off of stuff and then like shooting across the entire map by, you know, sort of glitching with the physics engine. Like
Halo 5, right? You play the story, And once you beat it, that's it. Back in Halo 1, we had shit like the Warthog jump. I don't know if you remember that from back in the day. You know what it used to
I do.
record it on the VHS. You know what I mean? On your VHS, and then upload it to not YouTube, because YouTube didn't exist at the time. You know what I mean? But you used to fucking put all the like shit like that was fun. You know what I mean? And also, you know, cheat codes and things like that. So it wasn't just cheat codes or just this, just that, the extras. It was just like you can just sit in the game and just figure things out all day long. But I don't know, the games just seem so streamlined these days, just to show you the best graphics in the world. Look at our graphics, and that's why I'm not even like buying a PS5 or an Xbox or the new whatever this thing is called, the Xbox Series, whatever the hell it's called, because it's like, what are you gonna do? Give me better graphics? Like, I don't need that. My graphics are pretty good here. You know what I mean? I don't know. They're just going to give you bigger games that take up more and more and more gigabytes of space that cost more money to make. So they're going to ask for more DLC.
Oh,
like,
no, seriously. Like, I borrowed a console just to play the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that thing is more than a lot of hard drives are. It's literally like 100 gigabytes for that one remake. And
it's only like half the game, isn't it?
It's not even a third of the game.
remember
what I'm saying?
remember back in the day, in the N64 era, when we had these cartridges that just used to be like a couple of Mbit, like a couple of megabytes.
Like,
and these days you have
the cartridges were at max. The really high end ones were 32 megabytes.
Yeah. And you had all the George.
You guys want to hear something funny?
One N64 cartridge.
You guys want to hear something funny? Y'all ever played Pong?
Oh
yes. Yeah. And people used to get lost in that shit for hours, and there was no graphics. It was a square. It was two rectangles in a square because they couldn't even get a round ball.
And nowadays you have games like let's say GTA 5 that's like where you have to download 40, 50 gigabytes, and that takes like hours depending on your connection. So, oof.
And I'm not even necessarily mad at Rockstar. They're just encapsulating what I'm talking about right there too. Games are too fucking much these days. I mean, they would have released another Grand Theft Auto by now, right? But no, they just keep releasing Grand Theft Auto 5 for every console over and over and over again. And Grand Theft Auto 6 isn't coming out until like what, 2024, something ridiculous like that. Like, come on, they're doing too much. It's just too much. Rein it in. You know, let's go back to the days of Nintendo 64 graphics. You know,
or the days back when we had or the days when we had Warcraft and it was like one CD, one game.
You know, I'm even fine with what they did with Final Fantasy. You know, they broke it up into like 3 CDs and stuff like that. I'm fine with that. Who cares? You know, I think Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube was like that too, if I remember. You know what I mean?
Resident Evil 1 for the GameCube is 2 discs.
Yeah. I don't mind that, you know. I don't know. Too much ranting from me.
But
I
it's
just
not
think
DLCs.
that
you would buy like both discs in one case. That was it.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you beat the game, you see it like the Infinite Launcher and the Chicago Typewriter, and you get your like 1940 Chicago mobster clothes, and Ashley will get the knight armor, and none of it was DLC, and it completely changed the game to make it 10 times more fun. I don't know, man. I just hope that if they do make an Alita game, it goes that direction. I'm hoping that things are coming back to that kind of stuff, but
not only that,
it's probably going to go the EA direction.
Dan, like I was talking earlier about how I got the whole idea of the graphic novel from a really old game from like 2000 or 2003 called Max Payne.
Oh, I remember that game.
What wasn't Max Payne one of the first games even before the Matrix games came out that made use of the famous bullet time?
Yeah, they started production on Max Payne and the Matrix separate from each other around the same time. But it was one of the first video games that actually used slow motion in games.
I remember his face. That's the most memorable thing from that game.
Exactly, because it was the chief developer had his face in the first game for Max Payne, Sam Lake.
We used to do that face as kids. We're like, who am I with that fucking weird face? Back in the day, those games are great.
Even more, there's Alan Wake, and I've only played a tiny bit from the same guys. I only played it. I haven't finished it yet. I need to finish it up.
I want to play that one too. Actually, we were talking about like the pseudo sequel to it or a spiritual successor to that. Max was talking about it with me and John. It's called Control. I can't explain it. but it has a real cool premise to it. I've gotten through like half of it, but it's
I got Control for free.
Yeah,
I had it as a freebie.
It's on Game Pass and it's on the PlayStation now as well. I just need to finish it. You know, I got stuck, and I get discouraged easily in video games.
Well, guys,
did you ever beat it, Max?
I'm going to have to break this up because the creek has got to drive a long way tomorrow. So over the weekend.
I got you.
Yeah. So anyway, or else I'd say I stay on for 4 hours. But
I'll give one last note. His name
is.
There's one guy who actually plays the translated version of Martian Memory. He played through it. His name's Callum Johns. I'll write it in the chat real quick. I'll leave this part.
Okay. Oh, we lost him. Oh, I guess he's going to.
Stop it.
But yes, why is this picture here? Because you like it and it's your stream.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can do that shit. You know, I mean, like that one. Did we miss anything? Yeah, we.
3, 2, 1. Film those sequels. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. No. Well, there's our lady right there. So anyway, hopefully the game will do her. Any games they come out with will do her justice as well. You know.
They could make use of motion capture like the game Detroit, where they made like everything in motion and performance capture. So they could utilize the whole tech for the game too. So,
well, she can do voiceovers too.
Yeah, I mean she did that.
I think she's doing one for like Transformers or something, isn't she?
I think she did I think she did a voiceover for one of the villains in one of the in quote older Batman games.
Okay. Anyway, she's number one in my book, Jack. So. And as Angelus says, why is this here? Actually, Creek says this. Well, that's because I like it and I'm running the stream. And I'm only here for our girl and the Elite Army. So anyway, but before we go, I guess don't want to do the call to action yet. Maxie, you want to tell us a little bit about tomorrow, about what this is going to be about? By the way,
I would love to, but I don't know because we only just got show notes.
So
Angelus better tell us.
That was a dig, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but now Star is going to be able to do this, right? Is he going to? Because was there some confusion about him and his anniversary or something? What was going on there? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Because one of the things go ahead, Angelus.
I was going to say we'll play that one by ear because if you're driving and he's unavailable, even partially, then we might even have to postpone it for real life reasons.
Well, we don't really want to do that, do we? So what we might do, let's see, I'm not sure how we would pull this off, but I guess I could schedule it. But I don't know if is he going to schedule it, Maxie, or what? How's that going to work?
I don't know, man. This week's sort of fallen over by the looks of things.
Well, what I could do is I could go ahead and schedule it, and let's see, it starts about 3 o'clock Eastern or 5 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Mountain. So I guess I could just pull over. If you guys sign in, you'd have to sign in with my email. You have it, don't you, Maxie?
Oh, we had the details there at one point, but we haven't practiced this, so I don't know that side of things.
Yeah, well, what you'd have to do is go to StreamYard.com, and you type my email address in, and then you kind of get a like a little window pops up that they send an email. It's got a code in. You got to enter it in. But what we could do is I'd get it on my phone. I don't know how the hell I'd get it to you though. That's the only thing. Yeah. Now another thing you could do, you could stream this with the free version of StreamYard. I mean, it doesn't cost. The StreamYard doesn't cost anything if you use the free version. I mean, I think that's what you're using, isn't it, Den?
Hold on, sorry about that. I was fighting my dog. What are you
Oh, that's
saying?
okay. You use the free version of StreamYard, right?
Yeah, but back when I used to stream, it was the paid version. But I'm using it for free now
Yeah.
to get on your stream. I
Yeah.
know for the free version, there's a couple limitations on it, like how many people you can have in it, but I'm not sure because I never streamed with it. So, or at least not in
Yeah.
a long time.
Well, I think. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody's trying to come back on. Is that that's chaos? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see. I don't know how I would get that to you, Maxie. Let's see. I'm not sure.
So wait, Max, you're trying to host the stream tomorrow? Is that what's going on?
That's what we're talking
I don't
about.
know.
Well, I'll tell you what let's
Here.
do. Let's talk about this off air when we do
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Probably the
That
better
way
I'm
way
gonna
to
fight
do
my dog.
things.
He's being bad. So
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, let's do the call to action, I guess, and then we'll be off air and we can chat about it. So anyway, we're gonna do that old film those sequels, baby, or film that sequel, baby. There you go.
Oh, that's
So
gonna be a
Mike,
first for me.
yeah, well, the Blu-ray thing is kind of it's kind of run its course, I think. So, but anyway, yeah, we're gonna on my count of three, you're gonna say, film those sequels, baby. So, or film that sequel. Let's say film that sequel, baby. So anyway, 1, 2, 3. Film.
Those sequels, baby.
Hey.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week.